there are trade-offs, and you have to make decisions in management about how best to manage that to get to the outcomes that you need and want. So, we are also in a moment where people are feeling like sort of difficult about being vulnerable and authentic in the office. Like it all goes to hell. Like the 2 weeks are terrible and shit goes haywire and deadlines get missed, or like that, something terrible doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen right. I can't think of one thing that isn't fixable.
Hey, Nicole, what do you get when a former corporate CEO and a do-gooding executive walk into a recording studio?
Well, Erin, nothing, because the two of us are usually on my couch or Zoom, because wine.
You get a podcast created for Gen X women who are bought into the corporate world, but fed up with the BS.
I know. It's how to thrive the 9 to 5 or 6 or 7.
It's career therapy. It's comedy. It's definitely full on authenticity. Basically, we give you tangible strategies to rise in your career without compromising everything else.
Because work doesn't have to suck.
Like, how does... I'm too big for the Zoom blur. Like, I gotta, like, sitting back doesn't help. What's happening right now?
They must have programmed in the Zoom blur for like 20% greater than average hair.
Look at my hair. Like, look at
it does.
this.
It disappear. It like half of it disappears.
What is happening right now?
It's good to see you. It's been
Hi. Excuse me. How are you feeling?
We have role reversals. You're hitting the vino. I'm water and ibuprofen cocktail tonight.
Are you serious? Are you sick?
No, it's kids last week of school, and my husband conveniently got a work trip in Massachusetts all week as well. So it's all been good stuff, but I've just been at the school, at events, at the park, getting ready to host kids at the pool. Yeah.
I'm taking off the blurred background. Okay, now you all have to see the giant mirror. I'm sorry. I'm listening to your woes and I'm 100% with you. I just couldn't handle the blur. So now everybody's going to see all like the mirror, all the excitement.
There's like it's so funny that you want the blur, but your background is like basically black.
That's weird. I'm also wearing black, except for the fact that I'm like proper from like the top up. And then from the bottom up, like bottom down, I have on elf fuzzy Christmas pants now, like legitimately, like woo. Like he's making the face, when he's like, it's Santa, I know him. I'm like, it's Erin, I know her.
The perfect like post storm outfit. No. Did you? Okay, so I don't usually do this to you, but did you go watch my Instagram reel?
I absolutely did not. Should I?
Oh my, yes.
You've been posting. So one thing I did want to say is that you've been posting a lot, and I have
not on Instagram. I'm so not consistent. On LinkedIn, I'm always consistent. Also, my coloring is horrible. I kind of feel like we need to pause the recording here and have you just go watch it and then tell me your reaction.
Pause.
Okay. You found it.
At Yale School of Management. And
no, you did not.
On boards, and look, I didn't go to Yale. It's a very prestigious school, of course. I was intimidated. I just spent like the last 10 minutes staring at the working instructions in front of me. I'm just, how am I going to figure this out?
You're going to call me.
I'm traveling north on a street, and that it's the south end of a building, and then there's more souths and norths and codes.
School management.
So I got asked to speak.
You missed the punchline at the end. Anyway, I think I said crap.
What did you say?
This is probably why I didn't go to Yale.
I know.
I can't even. No, I'm serious. So I didn't.
Oh my God.
I'm down at Yale tomorrow morning. So I'm doing this panel.
So you're doing it with the
with women on boards. And, this stuff, like I love to do it. And I've done a lot of stuff with the different universities in the state. It's about time that, got Yale finally got on the bandwagon.
My alma mater, I will remind.
I know, that's why we're laughing so hard, right? Your alma mater. And they sent us the details and the parking instructions like last week. So today, like this afternoon, I decided to pull them up. and she said, she kind of inferred it was a little bit complicated because she's like, I, suggest you could print these out. Well, it's not, So I'm looking at it and I'm like, go south on Whitney Avenue. And I'm like, first problem, who actually knows what direction they're traveling when they're in the car, when you rely on GPS 92.8% of the time you're driving.
Okay. I'm just
Let me
gonna stop you
let's
there.
hear how do you do it, Nicole? Yale grad.
First of all, the GPS has a compass, so like it will tell you you're going south. But besides that fact, what you're saying is completely right. But
then it's like, and then go to the south end of the garage.
Okay, I want to remind you of a hilarious time. This is on brand with you, because do you remember the time when you came down to New Haven and you parked somewhere and you're trying to find Manny and you had like terrible shoes on?
I got lost as fuck.
You ended up walking in like stilettos, like 15 minutes in the wrong direction.
I thought you were talking about the other time I got lost in New Haven. Yes, I forgot about that time I got lost walking from, which should have been what, like 6 blocks from
you guys
his
were going
office.
to like the lawn club or something, right? You were going to
I was just going from Yale to his office, which
is
and then my phone died. And then because he works for a 3-letter agency that doesn't advertise. That doesn't advertise their location, nobody could help me find said building. So I walked 45 minutes for it. That's literally not more than a half mile.
Like I felt like I wish I could have like rescued you.
Well, you know me. Do I wear stilettos? No, but I had heels on. I had heels. It was the old school heels.
Oh, yeah, I thought you changed in my bathroom at some point. Like there was definitely a moment.
Yeah. Well, and I thought you were referring to the time I got lost in the Church Street garage. And
you actually lost in the garage. Like you didn't even leave the vicinity of the parking.
No, when I was coming back to my car, I couldn't find my car for like 10, 15 minutes. Remember, we did an episode on this because then I went to go out and the ticket woman was on the phone. I can't remember the whole exchange, but there was a whole hilarious story about the ticket woman in the booth when I finally was like close to escaping the hell of New Haven parking.
I do vaguely remember.
So, dude, it's so funny. I'm leaving like an hour earlier than I need to.
Okay.
I'm so stressed.
Because literally, if there's like one city I know and one facet of a city I know, it's probably parking in New Haven.
I know. Can you get out? Like, can you come meet me with like lights and siren and give me like an escort?
You could park at my house and I could ferry you there 5 minutes away. The other option is to say, fuck it. So I know what they're saying. Like they're trying to give you directions to the fucking parking garage. The parking garage is under the building. So you're on this major street. Everything looks like nothing until you see this gigantic, gorgeous building. And then you're going to be like, oh, that's the Yale School of Management. Because obviously it's the newest, biggest thing.
And I remember I've been there before. Yeah.
Right. It's like, it looks like,
beautiful.
It looks something like spaceship. Right. So, and yeah, you're speaking at the Yale School of Management. Very exciting. So literally, if you're staring at the building, there's like there's a driveway to the left and a driveway to the right. The driveway to the left is like a dead end street back alley where there's probably dead bodies. No, I'm kidding. It's to actually a fancy urban lawn club, which is like a fancy way of saying Northeast like tennis club. It's like the country club in the middle of the city for all the Yale.
Wait, people. Can we pause that? Can we pause for a second? Because everybody else listens. I mean, first of all, you guys don't need to hear the directions. But did you just hear her? What she thought was simplifying the directions. Now I'm at a tennis club, urban club. Like, stop trying to help. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get as close as I possibly can. And I'm going to ask anybody that'll listen to me.
Okay. That's
my strategy.
You. Okay. No one's going to help you. So you're going to be staring at the building. And if you're looking at the building, like if you're driving by the building and like say your car
it's on my right, maybe.
If you're on the side of the street down the building is on, it's the first driveway. Like if you're coming up this way and the building's on your right, if you're coming down the street.
Am I heading south or north?
It depends. My guess is
you don't even know.
My guess is you're going to come off Trumbull Street exit, so you're going to end up coming north. So I don't know why they're telling you to come south. But depending on what
I'm
exit
even more stressed.
Off, if you're coming, if like here's the building and you're coming this way, so you're not on the same side of the street. It's the driveway on the right. It's a fucking parking garage. You're gonna like get in the parking garage. You drive down this driveway, and it doesn't look like any parking garage you've ever seen because it's kind of like one of those things like it's under like like a condo complex, like you got to like type in a code. You get there, you got like,
Yeah, there's
like,
code.
Hey, I'm here. I got to type in a code and you get in. The other thing you do is you press the big flashing button on it and you're like, somebody let me in. I'm here for the conference. And they fucking pay people for that. If not, guess what?
Yeah. What are you doing at 10:30 and 1-ish?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You're going to park on the street and then you're going to pay the like $2.50 like to park on the street and be like,
or the
I'm going to ditch my car and be like, goodbye. But that's hilarious. I love that you're going to Yale.
Yeah. I kind of forgot to tell you I was going down there tomorrow.
No, and we're all talking about parking because it's hilarious.
So you've been busy.
I have.
Any authentic so hard? What's going on?
Yes, I'm authenticating so hard because I ran here from having dinner. Like I've given up a little bit of my excessive like focus on my schedule, trying to get back on schedule. And it is Italian night. And I was out eating Italian food. And guess what is with me? Italian food. Because Erin, I have a little secret. You might know this. So when I go out to eat, I like to be like a normal person. I like to order the family style portion and claim it for myself. and
tell them they'll be here any minute.
That's right. And I like to order all of the food and then I eat a certain portion of it. And I tell myself, Nicole, you have a governor, like you're full. Like after eating the bread and the salad and the wine, like you're full. Oh, and the appetizer, like you're full, you're fine. Like you're okay. Like eat part of the meal, pack it up like a normal person. You'll have food for later. And like, that is the story I tell myself. Mm-hmm. And then I get home.
How much you got left?
And then I eat
2 pieces of pasta and then you
leftovers.
Hey, it's leftovers.
But like
you didn't eat it all at once.
No, but leftovers are usually meant to be like leftover. I literally get home, rip the top off, and I immediately eat everything I took home from the restaurant. I think I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I don't want to say like I'm trying to be like socially acceptable in the restaurant. So I do like the proper lady thing. I'm like, steal the jellies, put your food in the container, take it home, pretend you're not going to eat everything. I literally get home and I put my comfy shoes on. I take my bra off and I eat those fucking leftovers. Like someone is trying to rob a candy bar out of my mouth. Like, and that is what's happening right now. Part 2 of dinner is happening right now as we speak.
Right here, right now,
right now. One other thing is, as you know, I accomplished another one of our goals. Yes, I did go to another sporting event, but I traveled. I did. I got on my first plane and did my first little trip and got the hell out of this country.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked since that. I mean, we have, but not on record.
No, we really haven't. Like we haven't. We haven't. It's been a fun and busy month. I mean, I talked to you a little bit when I was up enjoying your pool on Memorial Day, or I was enjoying the surrounds of your pool because it was still pretty cold up there. But yeah, so family trip.
It was pretty cold. It was like 78. It wasn't scorching, so we weren't in the pool yet.
No, we weren't in the pool yet, and we were definitely drinking, and everyone was.
It was a good time.
We were having a good time. We were eating and drinking and eating.
So you did. You checked off one of the New Year's dares.
So I did. So, you were like, get your ass back to traveling. And I did. So it was with the family and it was like an 8-day trip and like 6 days was awesome. And 2 days I wanted to kill everybody, but we also
good percentage.
I haven't talked to those motherfuckers since, but no, I'm just kidding. It was great. Like, so first of all, if you don't know, cause you might not know, you don't know, the Azores are the part of Europe that are closest to the United States of America. They are volcanic islands, like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. They belong to Portugal and they are 4 hours from Boston. So it's like a really easy trip. And there's a lot of Azorians around here. Like it sounds like Atlanteans. I love it. But they're like, I literally felt like Dr. Evil. I was like, if I'm going to go on a vacation, if I'm going to leave America, like I'm going to go to a volcano in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Like, legitimately and my brother was walking around with Sunny like in the baby carrier the whole time. So my like 6-something beefy brother has basically a mini me strapped to his chest.
You were
literally... I was like, it's mini me. But I highly recommend traveling with infants. Like people like infants. They are nice to you when you have a cute baby. This is fascinating information. I don't know that I've ever been extremely nice to anybody with a very cute baby, but like, you know, there's some formality in these places about like getting reservations. And of course I was responsible for all the activities for all 7 of these yahoos, who, you know, my brother was like, wait, I gotta get some Heinz ketchup around this joint. I was like, oh, I did go to the grocery store and find him like Heinz ketchup, not off brand, but like Heinz ketchup. But, you know, you have to like get reservations. You have to plan things. Like, it's not all just sort of go with the flow. But people are very accommodating with cute babies. And, you know, we were there for a while on the small island, and we kind of got to experience it like locals. Like, we spent a Sunday at the park. Like, there's this gorgeous park overlooking in Angra. Angra means cove in Portuguese. So Angra de Ericimo, which is the capital. And it's this old UNESCO, beautiful city with the red tile rooftops and colorful. It's like Skittle Row. It's gorgeous. And it's on, you know, it's a volcano. So, you know, the black cliffs go right to the water. And there's like this old fortress. Has a lot of really neat, you know, maritime history and just all this stuff. So it's gorgeous. And this beautiful park. I mean, this absolutely stunning park, which is part of this fortress, also has all of this like installation for like kids and families of all ages. I mean, really, really family friendly. So we just walked, you know, spent a day at the park. Like, we walked over there. It's not easy. It's very hilly. You know, it's a mile or so away. And people were so nice to us. They were kind. They like shared food. They were like, everybody, you know, got a blonde hair, blue eyed baby. Like, we don't even know where that kid comes from on this island of like Portuguese people. And so, you know, everyone was like, oh my God. And, you know,
where all Italian blonde hair, blue eyed kids come from.
Yeah.
Tourists. Yeah. It's tourists somewhere in the lineage.
Somewhere. I'm
Austrian tourists or something.
His wife is like, it's like her Polish linebacker genes. I swear to God. but it was really, he was really great. And like, he was great on the plane. I think his parents did like an amazing job keeping him just entertained and whatnot. And we all pitched in. And so it was really special, you know, because this trip was supposed to be for my parents' 50th anniversary, and that didn't happen because of COVID. And then my dad died, so we decided to turn it into a bit of a memorial. So that was fun. And let me just remind everybody that the purchasing power parity of the dollar, like how much your dollar buys you, like fuck the exchange rate. Who cares about the exchange rate? Your dollar goes a long way there. Amazing. I drank wine all day long, every day. It was like $3 a bottle, and I never got a headache. I was having steak dinners.
That's the key.
Yeah. It's going to be like Greece. I was having steak dinners for like 10 with wine for like $10.
Amazing.
So, I mean, it was everything you could want.
You could become like the tourism icon. I think you should.
Oh, I was like the queen.
Or maybe the podcast. We can get it. And let's get ourselves a sponsor finally.
I'll be like,
Azores tourism. What would the tagline be? What would the tagline be?
Like, get drunk on the fly? I don't know, because like, you can fly there so fast.
Drunk on the fly. That's good.
And you can also go fly fishing. Like, there's just, you know, and there's like an American Air Base there. Oh, the best part was this place called Praia. So that means Praia de Victoria is the other city on the island. We were in Terceira, which is a really remote island. And the volcanoes, like, that go right to the coastline, they've created like, you know, the ocean is right there, and it's real ocean, like Atlantic Ocean with like Portuguese man of war and shit. But they've basically created like natural coves. So when you get to the coastline in these places, there's like these beautiful natural coves, and they've built all of this infrastructure there. They're natural pools, essentially. Not geothermic, but they were natural pools that were tidal fed. And they had built all this infrastructure. So it was like you could either go in like casually, or like there were ladders, or like, and they were sort of carved into, they were natural, but sort of manscaped, I guess. They were like manscaped natural coves. And swimming, bathing, some of them had like real waves, and some of them were very calm. And it was just like the most kind of unique beach setting I've ever seen. Just
That's amazing.
Stunning. And I was like, wow. I mean, we were like, we should buy a house here. Like
Yeah.
we should buy a house. So
amazing. So you had a great time. How'd you do with work? I'm curious. We never talked about it. Like, did you unplug? Because this is, going back to years and years of trajectory of Nicole.
So the real story, did Nicole sit on her email all day and freak out? About my personal life, maybe. Work, not as much. So this is interesting because I think the real challenge is going to be Greece for a different reason. This time, I really unplugged. For the first time in my life, like I shut down the computer. I had my email running. I was watching things, but there was only one time that I got on my email and my colleagues were like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, this is, you're ridiculous. Like, stop." I've never had that situation before where other people were holding me accountable.
Yeah, good.
Like, it was amazing. I mean, I come from a place where people get fired for not reporting in on their vacation. So I come from that culture. So I did unplug. And you know what the best part was is I learned a couple things. Like, I didn't come back to a shitstorm. You know why? Because other people.
Oh, pick me. Pick
Erin for 400.
Because emails are boomerangs.
Yes. And in addition, other people want to be treated with respect and kindness and dignity on their vacation. So if they're emailing me and asking me for shit on my vacation, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to disrespect their vacation. And they don't want me to disrespect their vacation.
Yep.
So they didn't disrespect mine. Like they demonstrated to me, like, this is how it works. Like, we're just not going to include you. And
good.
And you know what? It was fine.
The world didn't shut down.
Nothing bad happened. You know what? I came back to a couple hundred emails of like stuff I had to sort through. And I was like, oh my God.
But probably like 130 of them you could just delete in a hot second.
A lot of it I just deleted. And I was like, if I need to know it, someone's going to tell me. I'll be honest. I didn't go through the emails. I literally did not go through the historic emails. I was like,
let's start in present day.
Yeah, but I was like, if I'm going backwards, I'm already behind the 8 ball, right?
Yeah.
So I just showed up, and I made a couple of like catch up meetings with some key staff, and I was like, tell me what I need to know.
Yep.
Did I miss anything? And then like a couple of those emails came back, and they were like, did you see this? And I was like, in fact, I didn't, but now I do. So I just basically deleted all of them and didn't look at anything.
Well,
I've never done that.
To hear it, because you're also in a leadership role in this job. And you know how I feel about hypocritical leaders who say, go take a vacation and then dump themselves and then wonder why their people don't feel like they can.
And I also learned a couple more things too, because not every company or office culture has the same like vacation politics. Like, this might sound really, really normal to you. I know you talk about this all the time, but like, I come from like a culture of people who a lot of them started working like way before the advent of like email technology, like before their jobs were emailing, right? So things as normal to me as like an out of office are not the cultural norm with some of the people I work with, like, a shared calendaring, like these office tools that are, I think, they invite you, they provide you sort of proactive information, but also a little personal information about people, right? Like, it sort of invites you into their world and gives you sort of control over knowledge of other people.
I am calendars.
Not intrinsic to the culture. And so, and I just think to have like, in order to really respect people's, I think actually it's a matter of respect. I'm like, you also can't expect people to treat you like you're on vacation if they don't know you're on vacation, right? So, especially when you deal with the public. So I've decided to, institute a couple of policies, which I'm still trying to get people to do, which is like, when you are not in the office, put on an out of office. We could probably talk about this all day. This probably sounds crazy to you. People are resistant. I think I know the reason.
What do you think it is? If they're not a culture where they feel like they have to prove their worth and in working when they're not out, which is kind of why you see it. That's what you see in corporate America. It's usually the execs who feel like it's a weakness if I put it in out of office, because that says I'm not going to work while I'm out of office. But in fact, it confuses the crap out of people and it makes chaos. But if this is a culture that isn't like that, what do you think is their resistance?
I think it's I think part of it is transparency. Like, we're also in a remote work culture, partially. And so I think part of it is that people don't necessarily want you to know exactly where they are all the time, except that there are other tools, right? There's like, you can see if somebody's logged in, you can see if they're on Teams. Like, what, I think it has a little bit to do with sort of wanting ownership and flexibility over their time. It's not necessarily they're trying to like cheat the system or whatever. I think it's probably more about flexibility in the sense of like, well, I might take 6 hours today, or I might actually just work 2 in the morning and then I'm going to take my 6.
Right. So when do I start doing it out of office? Oh, good. Guess what's printing? Do you hear the printer?
What's printing?
The parking directions that I literally tried to print like 7 hours ago that have been in queue. Oh, good.
Because you need to have this printed, because you're going to the Yale School of Management where they like beam information into your fucking brain.
Yeah. Oh, phew. Thank God. Okay.
Wow.
No, that's hilarious.
Wow. Good job.
I think that makes sense. So what's the challenge with Greece? Let's stay on this, vacation, because it's such a great topic right now as people are going on.
So
vacations.
I'm actually really worried. So the timing was okay for the last trip. So as you know, my boss has been sick. He had his first surgery 3 weeks before I went to the Azores. So I was, as you know, like in charge for 3 weeks, and it was stressful. I learned a lot. We got through it. And then as he was coming back, I was leaving. So there was overlap and I felt like things were in order. Well, guess what? His second surgery is on July 10th, and we're leaving on July 6th, and he's going to be gone. I'm going to be gone. And we are in the middle of sort of a management assessment and sort of a cultural and organizational development effort in the office. I won't say too much about that. That probably wouldn't go well for me. It is an intense time. I guess I sort of thought the summer would be, like a typical office summer where there's a lot of people in and out for vacations, where July in particular is not a time of heavy deadlines, on extra scheduling, some deadlines, obviously we work on dockets and schedules. There are certain things that just the nature of work happens and you need those people there. But seasonal wise, for example, there's no great big things that are happening in the utility world necessarily seasonally, right? Like, hurricanes freeze in your house, in July in Connecticut. I was sort of anticipating that it was a time of like where there would be a lot of people flux, so therefore we would have time to accomplish some other things, and maybe there wouldn't be as many deadlines. Unfortunately, Tom's going to be out, and this is a big surgery, so he's going to be out, and I don't think he quite realizes that I'm also going to be out. I keep saying like, this vacation was scheduled. And people are like, they're like, wait, you just went on vacation. How are you going on vacation again? And, there's some question about like time and hours and do I have enough hours? And, in the end, it all works out. But it is a little bit challenging because, we didn't expect this. Like, we were expecting that his surgery would be in August. And we also did not expect that there'd be some pretty significant deadlines for some sort of, let's call them thought projects happening in July. And so that's some unfortunate timing. I think the day-to-day work will be fine. I have to have a real conversation with him about how we're going to manage this.
Mm.
And, part of it might be that like in the second week, I'm logging on 1 or 2 hours a day. I don't even know if that's possible. My computer didn't even work in the Azores. So I have a feeling like that's not even like really a reality. I'm not actually that concerned. I think what feels concerning is that I feel like I should be concerned. like, why am I not freaking out about this? I'm like, boss is gonna be gone. I'm gonna be gone. I'm going for 2 weeks, not one. Like, why am I not worried about life? Why am I not worried?
This feels like the ultimate Nicole test too. Like,
so it
and
does.
I don't mean that in make you more anxious, but to your point, from a headspace and just, I think it'll be good to share with our listeners, like, how do you manage through this situation?
Well, Erin's going to be next to me on the beach being like, bitch, if you pick up that phone, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah, that's what you think.
I'm kidding.
But I think there are infinite ways to solve a problem in general. That's just how I am. I feel like they're like, we think things are too binary. Like, should I go or not go? Should I work or not work? And I think it'll be a really interesting exercise to talk with your boss. I mean, you have the freedom, right? Well, it's not like you're going on a vacation where you're like, oh, well, we have, tickets.
I'm on a cruise.
Tickets to Epcot Center, or like it's literally a vacation that's freeing. So I think first of all, the fact that you're not worried is awesome, because I don't think you should be. And I think there's many ways to sort of solve this. And I think
put it this way: if like worry is like a big W, I'm probably like a little W.
Little W.
Like a little W. Yeah, because Erin, it's funny because I keep telling myself, why aren't you like, you need to be worried? Like, why aren't you doing all of the goddamn things? Like, why aren't you having the conversations and prepping the people, doing the plans? And I am worried about one thing. I'm worried about how people who are not actually involved in our day-to-day work, but who are ultimately responsible for, the broader picture, that, my job in part is to make their life easier. And so if Tom's out, the whole point of having a deputy is that, they can take over. And I came in at a really good time. So I'm worried that this is going to cause anxiety, or I know it will cause anxiety to other senior folks. And my feeling is like, I trust my colleagues enough that like, I just don't think it's going to be a problem at all. But I am worried about perception. That is what I'm worried about. That's the word, perception.
So what do you think are
it will be perceived as problematic? And then that has a snowball effect, Erin. The like, I can't believe this is I can't believe they're both going to be out. Like, I can't believe this, or like, how did this happen? Like, I'm worried about the perception of people, that it's not a real problem, but it's a perceived problem. And then it could potentially become a problem because people perceive it to have to be a problem because this is not the way it's supposed to be. Like, the natural order of the universe has been destroyed, right? How can the two people be out?
Beyond talking to Tom and sort of going through like the playbook, and obviously he'd have some suggestions and thoughts, what else could you do prior to that trip that would help mitigate these the perception issues?
Well, we are going through some organizational development projects right now. So I think I need to, let's say, work on that organizational development effort. And I think there's going to be some shifts in expectations and roles, and introducing some of these new changes. It'll be a good opportunity for people to live into some of this stuff while not having the bosses breathing down their neck. So first of all, the vast majority of these people like functioned in a different part of organization. This whole thing that we live in right now is part of a reorg. So these people lived and functioned and worked doing largely the same jobs for some of them for decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not exactly the way we all want them to be, but they functioned for decades. Like, they know what to do. And this is I'm going to go back to the recent trip. Part of the reason why it wasn't a problem that I was out is that, as like my deputy essentially said, long time, great guy, like just a salt of the earth dude. He said to me, honestly, he goes, "Cole, enjoy yourself. It's like Sicilian. He's a Sicilian dude. He's like, yourself. Don't worry. He's like, I've been doing this job for 40 years. You only been here for one. Like, we survived for 39 years without you. He's like, that's not an insult. He's like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And like, that is largely how I feel. So, and I'm trying to say it delicately. It's like, I think there's some expectations of things that are happening, that are changing. And, sometimes when people have big ideas, they want big ideas to happen now. Like big ideas need to happen now. I'm like, Tom and I are here to like effectuate big ideas. Well, what's going to happen actually is like those big ideas might sit and resonate and percolate. And maybe by not having big ideas slammed down people's throats, or maybe having taken some time and other people are going to be in and out over the summer, maybe in reality, I come back to an environment that maybe feels even actually less tense and actually feels a little more open to some big changes that are happening potentially, right? Because we know this is happening. People can percolate, they can step into some things. Also, what was going to be fascinating is the intel, is because now I'm going to get to see what happens when the bosses are gone. Like, other people are going to have to lead. That's fine. But like, what is the natural order of things? Because what I walked back into the day I came back was basically pent up excitement. Like, no, we didn't need you necessarily to do this, but now that you're here, here's all this crap that we want your insight and wisdom on. So that great. That made me feel good. Like they were excited to have me back and they wanted me engaged in conversation and efforts and projects. That's fantastic. Right. So, there was that interesting balance, but we will get to see how these dynamics play out without the two leaders. And I think there is some culture of leadership and I think we as leaders both need to grow, both with our dynamic together, but also with like the dynamics of the people and like senior staff and our colleagues. So I'm actually thinking very hopefully about this, Erin, which sounds crazy because it's going to be a major opportunity for Intel, but I really, really, really need to manage perspective and like unreasonable expectations,
Can I also give you one suggestion?
Yes.
The power of what you shared with us, our listeners and me, the vulnerability, which you do all the time, about how, one, we didn't dig all the way in, but how you used to sort of feel about these situations, which is what's probably driving what you said, which is, I'm a little bit worried because I feel like I should be more worried. But I think sharing, and I don't know enough about the team dynamics. I don't know if that's one-on-one. I don't know if that's with certain people and not with other people. I don't know if that's at a team meeting in a group setting, but the power of sharing how you feel and the anxiety about why there is an anxiety or, how you've sort of evolved in this whole issue, or just being flat out like, I know this is really weird and it feels like I'm just this vacation hound. But let me just tell you,
who is this person?
This, the Nicole of a couple years ago would have, first of all, canceled probably the vacation. I would have, first of all, on my first vacation, I would have emailed you probably 30 times a day. And, and here's why. It wasn't that I'm just so hell-bent. It was anxiety. I was worried about what people thought of me, blah, blah, blah. And I probably would have canceled this next vacation. Like, just bring it out in the open and say, and talk to them about some of the things you've said here and what an opportunity you think it is, not just for your growth but to set the culture, to give them opportunity to also be big thinking, to give them a break from all that, like whatever that narrative is. But I think, I'm telling you this because this is, you can lift and load this in any leadership setting. Your gut says to go to the management of things, right? It's okay, what can I do to prepare to leave here in 3 or 4 weeks? Well, I can make sure that Sally is made well known that she's in charge of XYZ, if that I normally handled it, and so is in charge of this. And instead, if you can just share like your honest feelings, because at the end of the day, that's what leadership's about. You're trying to evolve these people, not just as, and in fact, especially because, like you said, these people have been doing this job way longer than you. Most of them are lawyers. You're not. Like, so then you have to ask yourself, when I leave this job, what will I have left for them? What will I have gifted to them? And I think we underestimate the power of them probably feeling a lot like you do, and how exposing that vulnerability not only will help them step up to the plate and help manage the situation, but it will affect, and maybe it's not vacations that's their thing where they're worried that they're not worried. Maybe it's their spouse or their friend that they always, whatever it is, their relationship with their mother. I think there's real power. And I think that's the power of this podcast. I mean, that's certainly the power of you in the last 4 years. And I mean, slightly under the hilarious stories, but I encourage you to be open, more open than you think, as also a strategy to help you get through the situation, but help others grow in more ways than you can imagine.
So I think this is like genius advice. I hope everybody's listening to this as they think about their own vacation, or like the vacations of their staff, or leave, or whatever it is, maternity leave, whatever. Like, we've created a whole culture around like not taking leave. Like, it's a point of pride in this country, right? It's a slap against our productivity, and particularly Gen X. I mean, in Gen X, we have evolved this to be a fucking tattoo. Like, we should all get it tattooed on our chest, like, I don't vacation, like, or like
vacation badge.
Yeah, like, I don't.
It replaces our busy badge.
I don't rest. I rock out. It's like whatever. We've got this whole like school of thought around it.
Sure. I don't vacation. I just respond a little bit slower.
Exactly. But it says a lot about like denying your own needs and like priorities, obviously. And this is, I struggled with this. I mean, as we all know, I mean, I would say that a lot of the choices I made early on in my professional life, were largely driven by, not feeling comfortable, not working, like not being present. Like, I was always in very high power, high stress, high, competitive jobs with like lots of, and I had strived for those jobs. So like the thought of, taking maternity leave or, whatever it was, or like it was just so like beyond the pale. Like, I just never felt like I had the flex to do it. I hadn't been there long enough. I hadn't accrued the leave. I didn't have the trust, or like I didn't have the, things weren't right. Like there was always
bad boss, et cetera,
something was changing. I was going to walk into a new role. Like, it was constant. And I just never learned to balance that. All I did was, push the ball sort of down the road and was like, I'll deal with this in the future. Well, guess what? It's the fucking future. And I'm 47. So, and I did bad behaviors my whole life. And yeah, those jobs are great and excellent, but you know what? They're all in the past. And what would be really awesome if I had like carved out a couple weeks a year for, maybe other like healthy things like relationships or whatever it was that I probably should have, done instead. Rest, whatever.
Nicole, what are you doing over there? I'm finally getting up off the virtual couch and making some career moves, just like you told me. And I came across your Authenticity Playbook. Yeah, I forgot to tell you about it. This Authenticity Playbook I've had for a long time, and it's actually the most downloaded resource I have. It's basically 10 quote unquote plays, authenticity plays that you can make at work to stand out and get promoted and use authenticity as your strategy, your secret weapon. I'm really going to take this to heart because despite all the sports references, I know that it's full of your awesome and your authenticity, and it probably is going to help me go far or go home or go big or whatever the sports reference is. All the things. So listeners, if you also want the Authenticity Playbook, you can go to beauthenticinc.com/playbook, and you can make career moves like Nicole. Whoop, whoop, Heisman!
But, it's not all bad. It's just that I think this kind of vulnerability is it actually would resonate well. And I'm not going to lie, like, there's a lot of sort of I work with a lot of interesting characters. Like, now I always have. And it can also be the fear of that. Like, I have to be there to make sure the dynamic works. I have to be there to make sure that, like, if somebody goes off the rails, I can fix it. I have to be there to make sure to buffer the buffer. That's my favorite one. I'm like a buff machine. Like, I'm like that shit the janitor has in elementary
You're like
school.
the oil in the car. You're like the lubricant in between
the fucking lubricant. I'm the buffer. Like, if I'm not there to buffer, then Bob and Joe and, Rebecca, they're not going to talk. And then what if they talk to Lisa upstairs and that goes poorly? It's going to be a shit show. And, I've created this, I always have this like humanitarian role that I create for myself. And in this position, I'm the buffer. That's my great humanitarian gift to all. And, they are so blessed to have my buffering services. And I'm better than high-speed internet. I'm such a good buffer. Like, I'm, and these are the things I have to constantly sort of think through and challenge myself. But really, when it comes down to it, like, the people on my team want their time to be respected.
Well, and I feel like you still can be a buffer. I actually think by handling this a little bit different, being a little bit more vulnerable and open about the situation, not from a tactical, but from a mindset perspective, it's like a buffer annuity.
I like that.
It's like, annuity. Yeah, because you're going to give them the ability to buffer. And that's what great leadership is about. It's about not giving people the cash tomorrow. It's like giving them the annuity so that every week, even whether you're there or not, they get a payout.
Right. They've made the lump sum investment and now they're getting a payout. Like, I think this is a good point, because one thing, and you know me well, like, this is all bubbling around in my head, but of course I'm worrying about the not worrying. I'm avoiding hard conversations. I'm dancing around them. I'm like, tomorrow we have the second day of like this big training session that we've been putting together. And like, there's some good work going on and some, I think, real trust, but there's always parts of this that are sticky. And, tomorrow could be some stickiness. And so I'm just like, okay, I just got to get through this. I got to like, whatever. And then, I do feel like, that despite my best intentions, it easily could be the day before I leave. And I'm like, oh, I probably should have some conversations. And instead, I'm just trying to do the thing where I like sneak out the door and like pray to God it all works. Like, in my mind, it's great. But
the
like,
Irish Greek goodbye.
Yes. I'm going to sneak out. Like a hot honey on a Saturday night after a hookup.
No sneaking out. No sneaking out, girl.
Okay.
In fact, I would say tomorrow might, and I don't know anything about your session, but I mean, that's why most, like a lot of my work group sessions I do with corporate clients, I incorporate, whether it's at the beginning or the middle on our second session, if we're doing multiple, I have them share a humility moment. And a humility moment, I call it a moment because it's a story. It's not just I'm bad at math, right? It's the time that I failed, calculus, and I'm the CFO of the company or whatever. And they kind of get wrapped in the weirdness of it and try to figure it out and don't really realize what I'm doing. And one, I'm demonstrating, one of the principles of authenticity. At the same time, it's a Trojan horse. It connects them. It builds trust. So while they're learning this principle of authenticity, they're also walking away from these workshops in just a totally different space, because, humility is sort of a cousin to vulnerability, right? They're sharing these moments where they tripped and fall, whether it's metaphorically or truly. So, I mean, I've had some share things where they're like, literally fell on their face. And that, I could do a session for an hour and a half or 8 hours over a course of a week, whatever it is. That humility moment sharing kind of trumps almost everything I say. I mean, I usually they'll write down some quotes. I obviously have research. I have crack jokes. I've got the whole framework. They soak it in. But what they're going to remember, 6 months, a year from the session is not that. They're going to remember Larry's story about, botching a sale, or Sarah's, issue with, with her 3 marriages that they never knew.
Wait,
and
what? I might have shared
and now their buffer, their lubricants, their ability to work together, I've given them an annuity to do that. And they didn't really even realize that was the point of the, one of the big points of the session.
And I'm going to say this is that like you were saying some really important stuff at the beginning and I didn't hear any of it because the dump truck rolled. But then I feel like I caught up at the end. I feel like I got it at the end, but I'm going to go back and listen to the episode just so I can make sure I get all the salient points.
That's all right. I was turning on and off lights
from me. Yeah, no, I'm fucking with my lights too, which is fantastic. Yeah, but outside of the dump truck moment, I hear what you're saying. And somebody did say something to me the other day where they did compliment me. I was just sort of casually talking to one of the staff and she'd had a really hard week. And, she just said, Nicole, you're a real person. And like, it's great to have you around, but you're a real person. I laugh, I joke, I ask questions. Like, sometimes I'm like hiding in my office, banging my head against my two windows. I have two windows. I just want to say that, but banging my head on the wall. But to be fair, there is some, just beauty and I don't want to say it's authenticity or being yourself. It's not. It's about it's really about like being in that moment and or maybe I think it is about authenticity. It's about the way in particular that you define authenticity though. It's about being in a moment and treating people as they need to be treated, right? Like they're wanting something, they need something in that moment. And the best part of you is noticing that and providing it, right? Yeah. Like it's that deep connection. So
that trumps any other leadership bullshit and calling good meetings and gathering people and giving them inspirational
we are going through some really hard stuff right now where I don't think people feel comfortable being vulnerable, which happens sometimes in organizational development work. Like at some point I would like to do a whole session about like, the challenges of organizational development work, because it's really valuable, but sometimes there's a trade-off between like some of this hard progress and people's vulnerability or confidentiality and anonymity and the ability to feel vulnerable. There are trade-offs and you have to make decisions in management about how best to manage that to get to the outcomes that you need and want. So, we are also in a moment where people are feeling like sort of difficult about being vulnerable and authentic in the office, I think a little bit. So,
and they won't,
I can lead by example.
And they won't change for shit by learning stuff. That the only way they'll change is you demonstrating it. And that's
if shit goes to hell, like if it all goes to hell, like the 2 weeks are terrible and shit goes haywire and deadlines get missed or like that, something terrible doesn't happen or it doesn't happen right. I can't think of one thing that isn't fixable. Like I can't think of one thing that we work on because the kind of work that we do is little bit rote and prescriptive in some ways. Even like customer service stuff, like I can't think of one thing that would crash and burn so badly that we couldn't come back from it with the same level of like, respect and confidence and whatever. And maybe I'm just being naive, but like the worst case scenario is not all that bad. And I never would have said that in my past life.
And I think that's a great way to sort of end it for our listeners is as you're thinking about these anxiety moments, whether it's vacation or it's a project you're leading, it's not even vacation, like take inventory. What's the worst thing could happen? But that's so cliche. You almost have to say like, can you think of something that could so tragically go wrong if you weren't there? Challenge yourself. And if you can, like, how do you mitigate it? But my guess is like Nicole, you're probably not going to come up with something.
Yeah. Like other people can figure out the IT issues. Like I'll leave we have an ant problem in the office. I'm going to leave the ant killer. Like I'll do that. It's all
part
good.
of the business continuity plan.
Yeah. But before we go, I need to tell you that I accidentally tried acupuncture today.
Oh yeah. What was that all about? You texted me that and I liked it.
Okay. I'm the kind of person who like accidentally walks into like medical treatments and is like, sure, let's do this. Like, so, I've been going to this like sort of physical therapist, chiropractor thing. To be fair, like, I don't really know what her credentials are. I call her everything. I really don't. I found her on the interwebs Like, you remember that time, like right after I got fired and my body went crazy from like the lack of adrenaline, and then I was on my back for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, I decided that it might be a good idea, and like my back was killing me, and I was living in chronic pain, and didn't realize that like maybe it was fixable. I just thought like I have to live with this forever. So when I decided I wasn't gonna live with this forever, I typed in like, I don't even know. I'm so bad. Like, I'm a great researcher, but I'm so bad at like making important decisions. I'll just get something in my head and be like, that sounds good. Like, I will fixate all day on like what color pens I'm going to use that day. But I'm like, oh, I need to buy a washer and dryer. That one looks good. That's great. Let's tear down the wall and we'll just move it in. Like, I mean, like the toilet that I just got, I was like, that one's fine. I mean, car, first one on the lot. Like, it's so odd, right? So I'm like, yeah, it's just my body. I can't walk. Like, this girl's got nice eyes. She's got a picture on the internet. Like, that's cool. So I'm not entirely sure what she does. I think it's like sports rehab. She might be a chiropractor. She's got some initials after her name, and she does funky naturopathic stuff and has not prescribed me any medication. So there's something going on
And
here.
you've been doing great.
Yeah, really good. So I walk in there today, and I've been going, I used to go twice a week. Now I'm going once a week. And I'm a tense person, but also I kind of physically abuse my body between like working out, modeling, and then sitting around eating and drinking and eating 3 pounds of fucking pasta. So, let's be fair. Like, I'll work out real hard, do some yoga, and I'll sit on my ass and eat a pound of pasta over 2 days. So, it's not perfect. Anyway, I am really tough on myself. So I came in there today and I was like, oh, I had 2 modeling sessions this week and I've been eating like shit. I was like, the McDonald's, like the salt, it's just, I've been up late, I'm not sleeping, I'm not hydrated. I was like, I'm a mess. And she does this like normal routine for me because I have some like normal body parts. She touches my traps and she was like, oh my God. She's like, yeah, that's not good. It was like I was walking around like this, and I carry all my tension there. So I'm walking around like, like cousin Lurch, right? Like this. And it's on my left side. And she was like, well, so she's like pressing on me and she's like kind of getting frustrated, I could tell. And she's like, do you want to try some needling? It's like,
she did. That's not acupuncture. You did dry needling. I knew it. It's dry needling. Like, it's much more, like much bigger needles than acupuncture.
Oh. Okay. So she's like,
it's different.
Okay. No idea. So again, I don't know what the fuck is happening in this office. I'm face down, like, in my PJs thinking about the coffee I'm going to get myself, while this person, Dr. Crystal, with her many letters and her funky tools and her like oils and lotions,
great eyes,
and fancy talk and beautiful, literally the pretty side. Like, okay, so just for a second, her eyes are like the color of light caramel. I don't know if they're green or brown or hazel. And they're like, and her skin is the same color. Like, I can't stop looking at this person, especially now that she doesn't have her mask on. I was like, you are the most gorgeous human on earth. So anyway, Dr. Crystal with the caramel eyes, who has literally saved my life in downtown New Haven, who I found on the interwebs, is like, I'm going to do, like, do you want to do needling? And I'm thinking like needling, like, I thought that was just like pressing harder, like kneading. I was like, all right. All of a sudden she is jamming some shit into my neck.
Yeah.
It's like,
you know what they do?
So
they put the needle in and then they flick the needle, which stimulates the blood circulation. It's not the same thing as acupuncture. Like, I've done it multiple times. We have a good friend who's a physical therapist. We said, oh, it's kind of like the Western medicine of acupuncture. And he's like, you can't really compare it because it's kind of 2 different philosophies. But essentially what they're trying to do is stimulate like ice would do, but stimulate the blood flows for healing. But some spots aren't bad, but there are some spots, where it's like Kelly Clarkson material.
So first of all, I feel holy shit. So neck and trap, like here. I mean, and this went on for like a good 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There were multiple stabbings. Like, it felt like I had a sauna in my back. Okay.
You're in New Haven. Oh, yeah.
And this it took all my power not to get up and punch somebody off that table. And she's like, how are you doing? Wait, no, usually I'm talking the whole time we're talking.
Yeah, she knew
I'm
you
not
heard.
saying a fucking word. I'm sweating through my underwear at this point, right? Like, I'm almost peeing myself because I'm like, holy shit. And And so what it wasn't the needles, it was when the muscle starts getting stimulated, I guess like you said. Like the point is to make it relax.
Exactly.
It's like
the spasm
like this. I felt like I got hit by a truck.
Do you feel better?
Well, she said, she was like, you're gonna feel like you had a really strong workout. I was like, girl, I feel like I got I feel like I was like crushing concrete with my arm. So it feels sore, but a different sore than it felt. And the muscle is relaxed. Like it's not tight anymore, but it's very sore. So she said, hydrate, of course that doesn't mean wine, but I'm only half listening. And then she said, put heat on it. And, I was like on a conference call today. I had my right here because I'm an old school Italian, had my heating pad.
Oh my God.
I almost did this podcast like this with my heating pad tied around my neck like a freaking cape. Like I was so close to, I did 2 calls like this today. Okay. So heating pad on the neck. And then I gave in and I took some ibuprofen because it
and drink some wine.
Wine at the same time. And ate a lot of pasta and red meat.
Well, I'm here to tell you that wasn't acupuncture. You got needled. You got dry needled.
Dry needled. But
it's a fairly new, our friends started, I'm sure it's been around for many, many years, but it's become more mainstream in the last 3 or 4 years. And you know who loves it? Who will say, oh my God, I love it? Manny, my husband.
Manny's done this?
He did it at our friend's house when Keith was first learning the technique he's a physical therapist.
When did you guys get bougie new age friends? What is this?
Friends we've had forever. Yeah, he owns his own practice. And this was like pre-COVID, probably like, I want to say 19, when everything happened in our lives. What? And he actually did it like Keith did it to him, like on his couch at Keith's house. And Manny's done it a few times since then. And he's like, oh my God, I love it. Just like he loves being stung by bees. He's so weird. So he loves it. I have a love-hate relationship. It definitely has helped, but I've done it for, because me, I've got an injury, like a new injury every 2 months. Cause same thing. I'm so crappy to my body in terms of I'm old, but I think I'm young and work out like a crazy person. And then.
I have been inconsistent, but also it's summer and, I've just been like, I've been feeling like a little bit isolated. What was interesting, like I'll go back to vacation for a minute. What was interesting about vacation was that, I was with my family and, my family dynamic is not always the easiest for me. And like, I was feeling the loss of like my dad, the presence of my dad, because, my dad is the person who always made me feel like I belonged, particularly in that dynamic. Like he was, my guy and like we had like a cerebral connection and, he really made me feel like I mattered and we had an interesting conversation. And like at some point and this is not a knock on anybody in my family, but our dynamic is different, particularly when there's like babies around, right? Our dynamic is different. And I just really didn't have the opportunity to connect. Like I just felt so disconnected. I felt like disconnected from my body. I felt disconnected from my life. I felt disconnected from like authentic conversation. Like, this is my family. I'm on vacation. Like it should be like the most magical moment. And, that was not perfect for me. Like that was hard, but it was also an interesting moment, an interesting lesson because, I am me. And sometimes I wish I was a little more like superficial and surface, but I was like, wow, one, maybe I'm actually finally grieving my dad. Like it's about fucking time, right? It's about time. 2, I love travel and I was seeing new things and great things, but I often travel on my own and, or, in a dynamic where I have more control. So that is probably something that I actually do enjoy is having a little more control, right? Like I don't travel solo because this is like the Sex and the City version. Like I don't travel solo because I don't have anything to travel with. I travel solo because I love it. And then I realized the third thing. I'm going to go back to what one of our earliest guests who I just adore and love, Mel Miles, said, is that like, I realized that like, despite all the shit that has happened and some serious shit has happened to me in the last couple of months, mostly personally, I do not have a life that I want to take a vacation from anymore. We're finally here.
I love
Doesn't mean
it.
that I don't want to do these fabulous things. They have different meaning in my life. I wanted to be back in my life with my
It's
people.
so funny. It's so great to hear. And it's funny. I use that line in my head all the time.
Oh God,
Yep.
yeah.
And when I think, so Mel Miles, we'll put a link to her previous, I think she's been on twice. You interviewed her
Twice.
once, and then I interviewed her when her book
Yep.
came out.
Yep.
To be honest, it was such a catchphrase. It was so catchy, right? Like soulcation, designing a life you don't need a vacation from.
Yes.
And so I think at first it was not that I didn't think it was wonderful, but it felt very surface. But I will tell you that for me also, that line has crept into my head time and time and time again.
Yeah.
But especially when I've got mundane things going on, or I'm exhausted, I have to go here, but I'll stop and think, yeah, but I've designed a life I don't need a vacation from. I really have.
I really have
and
too.
I'm so happy to hear that
And
you're at
it
that
doesn't
place
mean
too.
that things are
Not that it's a
perfect. Far from.
destination, right. But
no, and far from. Like
but you've
I had
entered
really,
it into it.
I had a really difficult weekend last weekend, just struggling through some things. Like the voices in my head are mean. And unfortunately, I listen to them. Like that's a real thing. And I was having a moment, and I don't even remember entirely what it was about, but it was just like sort of a number of things. And I felt like isolated and weird and just whatever. And then I kind of woke up out of like this malaise, and I was like, this is your life and you love it. And if you're not loving it, there's like a few little things that you probably need to tweak to make it lovable again. So go fucking do that shit, and don't let the clowns and the stuff that are getting you down, like, don't let their narratives be the ones that you use to define yourself, because that does happen for me a lot. So yeah, so I am, really excited about our upcoming trip a lot. But it's not an escape from anything. It's just,
and we'll give you the autonomy to go do whatever the F you want when you need to. We'll have a safe word. What's our safe word when you're like, I just need to be
like when
out on my own,
when I need to be alone?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to come up with one, like, when Nicole needs to go to her island.
And for our listeners, if you don't, sort of follow the journey and the oscillating thread of Nicole and I, which is, obviously a big part of this podcast. She's coming with my family on a trip to Greece in July. That's what we've been alluding to. And we, of course, have to record. We will be recording there
On the beach.
because taxes, because write-offs. No, I'm just kidding.
I love all this. No, because we're freaking awesome and we're going on this trip together. And it's the most Greek thing ever. Like, one of Manny's cousins is getting married, and like he's having a honeymoon
in the US.
He's getting married in the US, and he and his non-Greek wife to be are going to Greece on our honeymoon. So everyone's like, yeah, we'll just all go to Greece.
We'll just meet you there. That's okay, right?
We'll just meet you there.
We'll just be there every morning with our frappes and pastries around the corner when you get up. And
let's just invite that girl who comes to all the family holidays.
Oh, not just the family's going to be there, but family friends are going to be there as well. Is that okay? You guys didn't want to be alone.
Little Manny, the cousin getting married. His wife is probably like, oh my God, like not only is this is like my big fat Greek wedding honeymoon, like
yes, part 3 or whatever.
Part 3, yeah, like it's you're not just bringing the family, you're also bringing your friends. I mean, it's pretty hilarious. It's pretty hilarious what's happening right now, and I am so proud to be.
So next time you hear from us, it would probably be from Greece. But in the meantime, I hope this episode, thank you for your vulnerability for talking through this. I think, what you talked about, the worried about being worried. Yeah. Make that assessment. Like, are you worrying about something that you should be worrying about? Right. Are you fabricating and feeling like it's just a pattern you get into? Also, what can you do? What can you demonstrate as a leader? What vulnerabilities can you bring that's going to give an annuity to your team, both from a not just a work process, but from a mindset and a growth for them? Because that's the shit they're going to remember. That's going to be your legacy. It's not going to be, the meeting that you crushed. And, at the end of the day, you get to chart your own path and ultimately like come on this journey with Nicole and I to do what Mel Miles planted in us and design a life you don't need a vacation from. And that to me is the ultimate goal of this podcast.
I agree. And you too can also come to Grace. You can just show up.
You can just show up.
Because everybody else in America is showing up. We will see you there.
See you there.
Friends, do you have other friends? Are they adults? Are they out in the world somewhere? Please, please, please invite them to listen to our podcast.
Okay, dude, you sound like a late night, like 2 a.m. infomercial. Basically what she's saying is our love language is ratings, reviews, and sharing the podcast. We'd love nothing more. And if you would do that.